Good evening, one and all, and welcome to another episode of Camera and Flask. Good to be back after a week's absence last week. Jem can explain what that was all about shortly. But welcome. I hope you've all got a drink. Obviously, we do this every single week from midnight here in the Czech Republic. We do this at 3 p.m. on the Pacific coast and 5 p.m. Central. Does that sound about right? I always get those confused. We're all back to the same kind of winter time zone thing now.
That was
causing confusion for a few weeks. Excellent. Well, it's amazing to see your beautiful faces, as always.
You too.
So what have we been up to the last couple of weeks since we last spoke? What have you guys been working on?
Who's first?
You. Let's hear it.
I just wrapped about an hour and a half ago a production where we're shooting a video for the Lowell Toda LED 3-light kit. So it's all three lights together in one kit with stands and everything else, a couple of umbrellas. And for the last 2 days, I've been running around doing lighting setups and creating what'll wind up being, I guess, about a 3 to 5 minute video with sort of a very brief overview of what's in the kit, but really more about how you would use 1, 2, or 3 of the lights in the kit for different setups indoors and outdoors. So
amazing. And have you been? And have the mannequins featured in this?
So what about that? The Rode Video Mic NTG? No, I'm just kidding. You like the awkward pauses there when I did that as well. Hello, everybody. Nice. No. By the way, just a shout out to Shiznuts is like all over the chat today, right in there first. David Carroll, we've got Joseph Floyd, Rob, Oliver, Andres, and I'm sure there'll be more people showing up as there always are.
And David, can I just ask? You've made the comment there. The quality is pristine. Are you being facetious, or is it really looking okay this week? We never really know.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's looking pristine.
5 minutes it might be. Come on, let's stop it.
I'll tell you what's looking pristine is that Kodak shirt. I want one.
Oh,
I would look awful in yellow, probably.
Guys, bored.
No, well, to be honest, the problem with this T-shirt is that the logo's too big. So I saw it in the shop and thought, I'm having that. That's amazing. But it's really big. And I think unless you're like a really skinny millennial.
Oh my God. Okay, go ahead.
Then it's not very flattering, is what I'm trying to say. It's fine for this, if we're not going lower than this, then it's fine. But I think if you want one, you go to Primark. Do you have those in the States?
No idea what that is.
Primani. It's like a really mega cheap clothes shop.
Is it like Ross? It's like Ross here in the U.S.
It's like the Aldo of clothing. It's the clothing equivalent to Aldo's. No.
I don't know what any of that means.
Is it like Old Navy? Is it humongous, or is it a tiny little store, Ben?
No, they're quite big, and it's a huge thing if one comes to a town because it's really cheap. Like T-shirts for $4 or $5 and jeans for $10, $12. They're all made by children in the Far East,
India.
When we cut out at 1 a.m. your time, do you just go on a bender and just play Prince for like 3 hours straight, or what happens in that room?
Yeah, that's for me to know and you to find out. I carry on drinking whatever I've got left in bottles. Yeah, there we go.
All right,
moving on.
Just trying to keep. Sky said that work is boring today, so we're just trying to keep it a little bit entertaining. Hey,
there
Kim, Leo,
Lakeshore, Chicago.
Yeah.
So, what have you been up to, Mr. Pike?
Oh, just making videos, put them on the internet.
Dude, that Rhino 2 looks ridiculous.
Yeah, I watched that today. That was fantastic.
That Rhino 2 is insane. I want that right now.
Yeah,
it's really good. What's funny though is everybody. I put that video up, and the #1 comment is like, "Why didn't you talk about the Edelkrone?" or why didn't you
Oh, I
review?
saw
I
that.
saw that,
I know.
yeah.
Like
And then
everybody.
$600 and all this other crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was interesting. It's like, yeah. So you do a review on something and everyone's like, why aren't you reviewing the other one? And I understand try to talk about comparisons, but this isn't my big thing. I'm not like the motion control system guy.
Right.
And Edelkrone, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't want to knock on the company, right? They have some amazing designers, but I always felt, and again, I haven't used their newest stuff, so this could be very, wrong. But I always kind of felt like they had amazing creative designs that once you're in the field were a bit fiddly and not as usable. And that's what I appreciate about Arc. It just works. It's built like a tank. You can put a red on it with a huge cinema lens, and it's just like doesn't even care. It's great.
Yeah.
I'd be even interested just the head itself, even without the slider.
Yeah, that's all I wanted when I pre-ordered, but on Kickstarter, like it wasn't that much more to get the whole thing.
Not
So then I just went for it.
Right. What? I have no idea what you're saying. Speaking of a Kodak logo and the unicorn camera, we always say A7S III. Where is this Super 8 camera that Kodak?
Oh yeah.
Remember? I mean, that thing was supposed to come to market in 6 months. I think we're coming on 3 years now. Probably.
Has that just been abandoned? Is that gone?
How could it not have? But you still see it up on their website, at least when I checked 3-4 months ago.
I don't know now, because at the time, I don't think the massive ramp up in film production, it was sort of at that earlier stage. And you think now, with the economies of scale that they're now producing a lot more film stock, that it now becomes a more viable product than it would have been then, I would have thought.
Yeah.
But
they have to rethink it a little bit, though. I think it's great, but I think you have to be able to process at home or do a digital. Uploading it or sending in your film to get digitized is just wonky donkey nowadays. And that was the whole idea.
That's the romance of it. That's the appeal.
Yeah, the first 2 times that you do it, and then you're
as
like,
if anyone's going to use it any more than that anyway.
Film, and whatever. So
real quick, Lakeshore, I figured out you're in Chicago because of your name. Right. I guess Lakeshore is pretty generic for a lot of people, but Chicago, Lakeshore Drive, all that good stuff.
Yep, Lakeshore Drive.
Anyway, welcome,
Andre has a question about diffusion for the NAND light. It depends which NAND light. If you're talking about the 150, which is the panel, there isn't really anything that I know of yet on market. I know that Nanlite is making some modifiers for that. If you're talking about the Forza lights, like the 500, then that has a Bowens mount, and pretty much everything will fit into that except for the spotlight from Aperture. The tolerances are different and it won't fit into there, but I've put the Westcott soft boxes in there. I put the other Aperture soft boxes in there, and those seem to be working, but the spotlight seems to be an issue. And I don't know how to answer that other than that. I love the switch system from Westcott, and they have these rapid boxes that open up just like umbrellas even faster than the Aperture ones. And they have a really beautiful Octa L, which is their largest one. And the grid for that, it's not cheap, but it's really well made. And I love the quality of light from that. So that's just answering that question.
All right.
Okay.
Can we start drinking now?
Please.
Yes, exactly.
Desperately.
I'm really thirsty.
My in-laws arrived today. It is time. They're here for 5 weeks. Let's have a drink. I'm in.
Okay. All right. Let's start.
I love them, by
the way you were all stacked up.
5
We're going to start at the bottom, go up. So 5 weeks, man. How? Let's not even get into like how that's a thing. Okay, Caleb.
All right. I've got something a little special for you, gentlemen. And chat.
Okay.
What's happening?
It's got a label hanging off the side of it. What
I know.
Wait, it's almost a full bottle. What is this? Oh, I've seen this bottle before.
This is Tin Cup.
Yes.
There we go. Sorry, overexposed everybody.
It's a bourbon,
comes
right?
in the tin cup. It is a bourbon, and it's delightful. And I recently opened it, and I even kept the tag on there for you guys.
Can I ask a question? When you say recently,
I got
like an hour ago?
several weeks ago.
Really?
Yes, several weeks ago.
Must be really good.
American whiskey, 84 proof.
Must be the best ever.
No, I got a bunch of stuff, and so this one I saved, and I was like, I'm gonna actually show them that I can, have something that's not empty. So get a nice
Bad karma. By the way, I have seen the Rode Video mic NTG online. I haven't seen it in person. Pretty impressive in specs. Whoa, are you pouring? Is that a beer you're pouring or some bourbon? The way you were pouring that,
just a little bit of bourbon. It just sounded like a lot because of
David's
this.
having an Old Forester and cane sugar soda and a frog green lime. It's a double and. Love it. Okay, good.
Okay, what are you drinking? We can go back to talking about the road stuff in a second. But
you guys are so sweet. So I'm going with a sweet Scotch today. I'm having the Balvenie Caribbean cask, 14-year, which I love very much.
Still not tried that.
What?
Still not tried that, but I'm a big fan of Balvenie.
It's very, very lovely. And this one, they do once a year, they do a peated week. I think I've shown that on the show, but generally they're sweeter. They're delicious. And the pour is going to be extra today because we've already talked about why. Let's go.
Yeah.
What about you, sir?
So this week, I'm kind of off beer at the moment for some reason. It's not appealing. It's like a winter thing. I often sort of lose the taste for it in the winter. But my neighbor gave me this bottle of Metaxa, which I think I've featured before in a previous episode mixed with something. But I'm going to have this with apple and carrot juice with some fresh ginger grated into it. And
are we at the gym, or are we trying to handle your stomach? What's going on here?
This is amazing. What are you talking about? This is like a summery drink.
Like? What is the liqueur?
I am. What does it taste like? It tastes like what? It tastes like all those things mixed together. I know what you want me to tell you.
No.
I mean, the liquor, not the
liquor, not the other stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
You've never had this? This is Metaxa. Really?
No. What bottles do you guys have over there?
I love the bottle though. And it definitely goes with the room.
Gotta hide your eye.
There we go. There we
go.
So Metaxa is it's a Greek spirit. It's kind of a brandy, I think. But it's really good. And also, sorry, I assumed that this was a thing everywhere. Metaxa. It's quite popular here. Yeah, so it's a I guess a 40%, 38%. So it's you can drink it neat. It's really good neat too, but it's also a very nice thing to have with mixers.
Nice.
So
you still can't what?
What? Oh, just I can't imagine. Let's just drink. Here you go. Clink. Cheers, everyone. Cheers. Chat.
Oh,
lovely.
Very nice.
Lovely. Lovely.
Refreshing. Good. Do we want to go back and talk any more about the road stuff before we get onto the main event?
I think we got to get it in our hands. I mean, NTG5 looks pretty interesting as a mic. I'd like to test it out. This video mic NTG is sort of a hybrid, and it looks like it's kind of Rode's answer to the Deity. TRS, PRRS. It's got USB, and it's obviously got some new R&D in it coming from the NTG5. So for $250, it could be a great mic. Just love to try it out and see if it's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife that you can have in your kit. And it's like that and an NT55 for me, so I get a cardioid pattern for inside. But I'd like to, I really like to check it out for sure.
Yeah, looks super cool.
And we'll come back to you on that one again.
Yeah, speaking of audio, I'm kind of in the drool area right now when it comes to the Mix Pre 3.2. I'm really feeling the tug and the pull to get an external recorder for my productions for 32-bit float, just having that high dynamic range audio. There's just too many times where it's just me and one other person, and I think that $649 might be money well spent. So
I agree. I've also been thinking the same thing. There's just a lot of things on the list right now, but
Yeah, me too.
I think as a one-man band, as a single shooter, a lot of the time, I think exactly the same. That would just give you so much less to worry about on a shoot.
We lost
So-
Caleb for a second.
We have lost Caleb for a second.
All right.
Can you hear me
Okay.
still, though?
Yes,
Yes,
we can
I
still
can.
hear you.
Okay,
No
carry
worries.
on. We'll sort this out.
Good,
All right.
good, no problem.
All right, so let's move on to today's topic, which is this wasn't my suggestion, but this is particularly poignant for me at the moment. I think because I think flown 64 times this year already. So packing kit into bags is something that is all too familiar, and I could rant on for hours about. So this is a good thing for us to be discussing right now. And I'm also looking at changing that quite a bit due to my back, which we'll come on to. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to talk about how we would normally pack for a flyaway shoot and maybe one for a driving journey? Do we want to do it that way?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to talk about bags a little bit in the beginning, if that's okay. And then
great.
I'll
I've got-
start to- yeah.
I have samples of bags packed as I pack them, so we can do show and tell and everything. I'm very excited.
Damn, you are really prepared. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I take this seriously. Come on. All right, so let's start with you, Jem. Seeing as you've got props and pictures and things lined up. So
not a lot of stuff. Yeah, and Rob, I think we're primarily talking about packing for travel. But for me, I think about packing locally and for travel in somewhat similar ways. It's just the cases can be a little bit bigger when I'm going local. But I still really try to make sure that I'm always putting everything that I'm carrying into a location, or when I'm traveling, inside some sort of bag. Even if there's bags inside of bags, I don't want to just pick up one thing and have to move that, because it's just very inefficient. Used to do that a lot. And the big difference for local stuff is that I'm going to bring my own C-stands. I'm going to bring my own tripod systems. And I'm also going to bring a lot of milk crates. So milk crates for, and basically what I do is I'll have a milk crate that just has electrical stuff in it. So it'll have stingers and things like that. I'll have another one that'll just have, let's say, clamps in there. So Cardellini clamps and things like that, A-clamps, grip clamps. I'll have another one that just has, something else that if I need to bring another category of something. So I'll just put like items in, I'll put, expendables. So I might have some black wrap and some gaffer's tape and things like that in another milk crate. So that's kind of how I do stuff when it's local, if that makes sense. Case-wise, I think that, everybody's going to go down the road that they want to go. I have, unfortunately or fortunately, an obsession with bags and cases and with pouches and things to pack. It's a disease, and my wife says it's just ridiculous. Okay. I mean, I'll just randomly buy a 3-pack of little pouches because I want to see how they'll work for me to put, microphones in and stuff like that. It's bad. But in terms of my kind of go-tos, I would say that there's 3 or 4 bags that I'm normally using when I'm traveling. The first one is larger. I don't know, Caleb, if you can bring it up. Do you have the capability, or should we just leave it? We'll leave it. It's fine.
Just like that, you mean?
No, it's all right.
It's not now.
So
It's too late.
Look at that.
Oh,
Wow.
Excuse
What a pro.
me.
I get extra
All right.
points this week.
That is ridiculous. So that is the Tenba Aircase 2520W. It's a rolling case. It weighs empty just under 16 pounds. And so we get up to 50 pounds here in the States when we're traveling domestically. So
23 kilos for those of you in anywhere else on Earth.
Hold on a second. 16 pounds?
15.8. Yeah.
For just the bag?
Well, look at all the dividers. It's a big ass bag. It's the largest.
That's like a lot. That's a lot of weight.
Is that a hard case?
Yeah, it's basically as strong as a Pelican case, but it's a soft
Okay.
hard case. It's the
It's a soft
largest
hard
case
case.
that you can check domestically. So this is not the thing that I'm rolling around or putting in the overhead compartment. The dimensions are big. I don't know if you can bring it up, Caleb, because you have better internet than me. It's the 10 by 2520W. You could read the dimensions, but
Bring up what? Oh, the size.
yeah.
I'll
Maybe
do
I
that
can do
now.
it. All right. Well, yeah.
Well,
But
I have a Peli case that's a very similar size by the looks of things, or it's a storm case, which has slightly different fasteners. I prefer them a little bit to the Pelis, which are a little lighter. And that's 8 kilos, so I would say that's a very similar weight.
yeah.
So pulling up the specs here. Yeah, where are you saying dimensions? Yeah, weight is 15.8. Wow. Interior dimensions 15.5 inches by 20 by 6.5.
Right. And then it's exterior larger, but part of it is that it's lined all the way around, top, bottom, and all the sides. So, like a gorilla can jump on.
Holy cow. Yeah, this is thick. This is a thick boy case. It's adding like 5+ inches on all dimensions.
Correct. So that's where the weight is coming from. And the weight is coming because it's an air case. The whole point is when you're checking valuable equipment, then this is not a Pelican. So it's not waterproof per se. It's water resistant, but it's still relatively light comparatively. And I can put a lot, and then you take the dividers out, you can save a little bit of weight if you're just going in pouches and packing it differently. But this particular bag is kind of become my Neo for checked luggage when it comes to putting equipment and things. And haven't had a problem putting anything in there yet. I also always put a note in there for TSA in this country that basically has my company name and says, this is a shit ton of equipment. And by the way, it's expensive, and put it back the way you found it in a nice way. Because I do use a TSA lock, which you have to do. And so far, nothing's gone missing, but quite honestly, it does happen.
So the TSA lock thing, I always just have a massive, great big padlock on the outside, which is not TSA approved. Yep. This is when I fly with the Peli case, which isn't that often because it's so big and heavy and bulky, and I often need to use public transport at one end. So that has never been prized off, bounced off, and I don't think I've flown to the States with it, but I think it's the same sort of thing. So do they really?
No, I don't know how it works in Europe. In the States, if you put a lock on there, it has to be TSA approved, which means there's a separate place where they can put in a little tool and they can open it. And I've had my locks go missing. They'll open it up and they'll put the stupid notice in there that they've searched my bag, and I'll never see that lock again. Don't even get me started on TSA. That is not what this episode is about. I'm trying to zen here with my Caribbean cask. Now we're going down a road that's just getting me going. Jeez. Dang. Man.
Okay, it's okay.
All right. Okay.
Talk me off the ledge,
It's gonna be okay there, Jim. It's okay.
Talk me off the ledge. It's okay.
All right.
Take a sip. Pick up your glass. Take a sip.
I need a paper bag. I'm hyperventilating.
All right. So should we do the? So that's your big bag. Should we each do our big bags and then move to smaller ones? Let's do it that way.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
You're the host.
Let's do it.
I don't know what that means, but okay, let's go.
Big bags.
It just feels like let's keep it interesting. Big bags, Caleb. What you got?
I haven't flown for bigger gigs in a long time. So back in the day, had various cases. I used Pelican cases for the most part. I just loved the fact that they were super tough. And, it's crazy how many bag options there are now for people like us versus like what 6-10 years ago when I got started. Yeah. So now it's ridiculous. I can't even imagine trying to shop now. I don't have Jem's problem at all. I don't buy stuff like that. I just can't not throw it out. So I've got just ungodly something. Every time you buy like a little lens kit and you find it on Amazon and it comes with all the extra junk. I can't
throw it out either.
And you get these little pouches, lens pouches. I've got tons of that stuff.
I never throw it out.
So for me,
I go back to it though. It's still useful.
Yeah. The overhead bin sized, was it 1510, 1610 Pelican case?
Yeah.
I loved those. I felt like those were
That's
perfect.
that's the go-to. That's the go-to hard
Yeah.
case to go in the overhead. Yeah,
Because you can fit nano stands in there. You can fit just about anything. You get the little organizers that go on the upper lid. So that was a favorite. And then my favorite bag or case of all time, excluding backpacks, is the Porta-Brace cargo case. It's just, for whatever reason, the dimensions couldn't be more perfect for like any setup. So I talked to them recently because I did some videos on their stuff like way back, Porta-Brace, and I talked to them at NAB last year, I think, and that's still their #1 selling bag. So it's
what kind of size is that?
I wish I'd brought it in. That would have been smart.
Or what
but
would you fit in it then? I guess is probably an easier question.
you could fit like 2 built, maybe not fully built, but kind of like 2 C200s, you know, in a row, you know, butt to face. Or one of those and then some other stuff. It's the perfect like cinema camera plus some extra stuff. And it's kind of a doctor bag style, so you have the top handles.
Yeah.
And then
I think I know the one you mean.
You pull a string and 2 zippers come undone, and then there's other pockets on it. But it's just perfect for like just a couple of those. And they're soft cases, but they have really tough walls, so you can like stand on them if you needed to. So
yeah,
dig them. Simple, very lightweight, which is huge. Yeah, it's easy to tote. And they're handmade in Maine, I think.
I've never had one of their bags, but so tempted on many occasions.
You got to check out their booth.
Really nice.
At NAB. It's awesome. Every single thing they make pretty much is hung on a wall. It's a crazy looking booth.
We'll go.
Anyway, nothing crazy for me.
All right.
Yeah. How about that Peter McKinnon backpack? You guys seen that?
Yeah.
No.
So it's cheap, right?
$600. I don't know.
What?
I don't buy bags.
Bags are insanely expensive.
Cool,
they're always one of those.
It looks cool.
The inside looks like amazing. The stitching from like I don't know, an Audi.
It looks amazing. It really does.
I also like the one they're selling that like folds up into nothing. It's like a full backpack that just turns into a little ball.
Yep.
It's cool.
Think Tank makes great bags too, by the way.
Think Tank do make great bags. And my big bag, or my big roller that I used to use a lot, which was carry-on size for Europe, which is a little different to the States, was the Think Tank Airport Express, maybe? Or Airport International. And that thing's great, but the only reason I stopped using it is because it does fit the airlines. You know, they have the little cage at the gate. I don't know if that happens in the States, and they then go hawking around when it's a full flight trying to find someone who's oversized. And that is right on the limit. It does fit, but you know that it's on their radar. The reason you don't want them to lift it up is because I generally, at the moment, and this may change, and we'll probably go on to talk about this shortly, is I've been flying with Lufthansa quite a lot, and that group of airlines, because then I get some status with them, which means I get some extra luggage allowance and business class check-in and that kind of stuff, which is great. But their hand luggage actually has a weight limit, which I know in the States generally you have size limits, but you don't tend to have weight. Whereas we get ridiculously low weights on a lot of those classic, what you would call full service airlines. And it's normally 8 kilos, which is about 16 pounds. So Jem's bag without anything in it is all we get. Now, that's really small. And that big Airport Express thing was normally 20 plus kilos in there. So it's not on their radar. It's fine. But if you then, if it's a big enough bag that they're going to notice it when they're trying to find people to take the bag off you to put it underneath, they're going to lift that, and then alarm bells are going to go off, and you're going to get it taken off you, and it's going to get put underneath. And baggage handlers are not the most sensitive of souls, and it will be thrown, and all your stuff will get broken. Yeah. So I stopped using it and went over to a bag, which we'll talk about when we go on to smaller backpacks. But for big bags, for me now, I have a big Peli case, which I use if I'm doing offshore jobs. And I can fit almost everything into that one case. It's huge, it's very heavy, but it's absolutely bomber. and I bought the foam inserts for it, which is more or about the same price as the case itself. It was the most, and
Holy
bags are just
cow.
one, yeah, and the bags are the most. They're like insurance. It's really not fun stuff to spend money on. We all love spending money on gear, but spending money on bags, it's not a sexy purchase, is it? It's not like buying a camera or a lens. So that it's underneath my feet right now. I would pick it up, but it's full of gear and I'll just end up knocking things over. So I have that one. And that gets used when I'm going offshore because stuff needs to go on a helicopter, or sometimes it needs to get winched off a ship. And I know that thing's completely safe. Stuff can get stacked on it. It doesn't really matter. But for the most part, I use this thing, which is we've talked about this before. This is a Marmot haul bag, which is made for climbing people. This is actually a wheeled version, but these are designed to be used being hauled up those huge rock faces in Yosemite and where people are living on porta braces for a week.
It's a big old sack for your stuff.
Yeah, and the reason that's great is it's mega strong. The thing has done 200 flights with me now, I guess. Nothing's ripped, nothing's broken. It looks tatty. It looks like it's not full of expensive gear, which is the other reason that I really love the thing. So you got to pack it fairly carefully. So I put in my tripod, I take the head off it. I wrap the head because that's got lots of sharp edges on it. And then inside of that, I just have exactly what Jen was talking about, pouches. Lots and lots of pouches.
Skipping ahead now. See, that's what happens when you're the host. You can do whatever you want. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You're not judging, Jem.
I can do whatever I want, Jem. Whatever I want.
Jem's over here such a judger.
Look at him.
Captain Rabbit Hole himself is just like, well, then we weren't going to do that one till later.
Just messing with you.
Oh, amazing.
So everything goes in that bag, in its pouches. So I don't put cameras in there, obviously, but everything else goes in there, accessories, chargers, all that stuff goes in. And then I wrap all my clothes and shoes and all that kind of stuff around it in layers normally so that nothing gets bounced. In however many 200 flights plus, nothing has ever got broken in it. But again, and the other thing that's really important if you're going to go down that route and buy a soft bag is that you need to have tensioning straps on the side of it. Tensioning straps? Is that what the right word?
Yeah.
Bungee cords?
No, compression straps.
Tensioning.
That's the word. Compression straps. So that you can really push things down. Nothing's going to move around. Everything's going to stay exactly as you packed it. Yeah. So that thing's great. I normally pack that to 23 kilos. So the same in Europe, 23 kilos, 50 pounds US. So that's my kind of big bag that has gone on more or less every single flight with me this year and more or less every flight for the last 2 or 3 years.
Amazing.
So,
see, that would make for a wonderful YouTube video.
Yeah. All right, I'll do that.
Put your camera on the floor at the bag, show how you pack it. Bam.
Yeah.
You know, Ben, your bag makes me think about something, which is, wouldn't it be cool if that bag, I'm not taking the piss here, I'm being serious. If, you know how you have the vacuum sealer things that will take all of the air out of something?
Yeah.
It would be awesome if you had a big bag like that and you could just hook up a vacuum and it would just suck all the air out of it and it would just make it tight.
Until you like are walking and there's like,
of course,
it looks just like a C-stand.
Until TSA pokes it or something.
Yeah.
I
know.
No, but that is a dope idea.
It's a good idea because it would do the same thing as the compression straps.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I know it's a flawed idea, but it would be great if it was built into the actual bag somehow. That would be the amazing thing.
Or an insert that goes into that thing that's clear so they can still see what's inside of it.
Heck yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or it basically, you know, you have bags with batteries. There's like a battery. Basically, it's a built-in vacuum system. And then if for some reason it, you know, goes awry, you can forget it. It's too much thought. Forget it. It's never going to be made. I'm done.
No. One last point on that particular type of bag.
Yeah.
it doesn't really offer that much protection. That is the big thing. So you really do have to use like big down jackets, all that kind of stuff to protect your gear, and as many pouches as you can, as we have mentioned. But
you're not putting your C200 in there.
No,
I am not putting the C200 in there. We'll come on to what that goes into later. And then the pouches and things from everywhere. The Amazon things that Jen was talking about, buying little 3-packs of them, but also IKEA's brilliant. Wash bags, fantastic things for separating gear. IKEA wash bags, like $3 or $4, and they've got all these little compartments.
Those little mesh, little mesh pull tie bags.
Yep.
That you're talking about?
No. These are like I see. It's in my other case, but so I haven't got one that I keep my wireless mic kits in. So you open it up like a book, and then it has a side with a pouch, 3 or 4 pouches on that side, so you can put all the connectors, you can put all the mic cables, you can put the transmitter and the receiver on the other side, and it just zips up into this really nice self-contained unit. And it also means when you're packing your gear, it's very easy because everything's on a shelf in those little bags, and it's just a case of having a quick look at them, make sure everything's in, and then putting it into the big shipping bags. So yeah, big bag. That thing's been brilliant. It probably cost, well, I was working for the company that manufactured that at the time, so I got it for next to nothing. And I'm trying to find the exact same model again now, and I can't find it anywhere. But it's around, I don't know, 150, 160 pounds, so $150, $160.
Okay. I'm going to pivot for 1 second just because of a couple of comments. First of all, people are asking, how do you power your stuff? I said a lot of batteries. There's a video on News Shooter this week where Matt Allard interviewed this distributor at Interbee, and there's like the world's smallest V-mount lock battery charger, which charges 4 batteries. It's, because we have these new compact V-mount lock batteries that are coming out by everybody. I have 3 from Pop, and they're the chargers are getting so small for those that you can, put a bunch of those into your bag. They all have DTAP, PTAP on them, and I think that those are great solutions. And you can even travel with the charger. So if you have enough of those in your bag, along with, of course, NPF batteries, which I always have pre-charged, and then you can put them all in Ziploc bags if you want. If you want to make sure that they're individually wrapped. Somebody else also said Peak Design is looking like they're coming out with something. Isn't Peak Design the company that made that Kickstarter campaign with the really compact tripod?
No, you're right. Yeah. The $600. Yep.
Yeah. The really small one that they're making in aluminum carbon fiber. There's a scam going on right now on Facebook where all of these different ads are coming up, and they're linking to that tripod, but they're clearly not Peak Design. And I see that people are constantly linking on that. And every single time I see one, I just say, fake, or it's, basically a scam. But
wow.
Be on the lookout for that. At least here in the US, I'm getting a lot of feeds because I guess I visited the Kickstarter and then I got tagged with a cookie. And now I'm seeing these feeds for this particular compact tripod system. It's clearly not Peak Design, but it is their product. And there's these companies, taking orders for them. You have to prepay for them ahead of time. So, even in our industry, there's some scams going on. Yikes. So sorry about those 2 asides. The stupid expensive tripod. I guess it's stupid, though. People are selling it really cheap, and you'll probably never get it. That's what I'm saying.
And the thing is, Peak Design stuff is expensive, but it is great. I've just bought a camera strap from them, which was £50, which was insane. It is a strap. This is their little button system.
Yep, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
You just Larkfoot the 2 little button things onto all your cameras, and then you only need 1 strap. Because I have this problem that you're putting a camera onto a gimbal, onto a tripod, you don't want the strap on it, particularly DSLRs that you're using for stills as well. You generally don't want them on for video work, and that thing's brilliant. But £50 for a strap. That was another bit.
It'll last you, though. It'll last you.
Exactly, it will. Yeah.
Go. Real quick note, but going back to the tiny battery stuff, I haven't tried the Bebop, which is like the best, right? when it comes to that stuff, except they're incredibly rude at NAB. Ben, remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah.
Getting
Really?
elbowed out.
Yeah,
It's
they
unbelievable.
just didn't want to talk to us.
At any rate,
You should have pulled a "Do you know who I am?" there.
Oh,
I know that's
no.
not you, but you should have done it. You really should have done that. They were so rude.
Really cool stuff. Super cool what they're doing. But IntelliTech has one. It's $200. I think it's a 98. It's adorable. It's like the size of my palm. But get this, and I'm sure the Bebop's the same, but 12 amp draw.
What?
The IntelliTech one can handle up to 12 amps. So you could technically put 2 of those on like a 300D.
Get out of here.
Yeah, 12
Because you need
amp draw.
you need a 10 amp minimum for the 300D.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know about now, but when I was talking to IntelliTech at the time, their mini one was the only battery that size that could do that. So if you want to power a ton of stuff or a very power hungry item, that's a sweet $200 pick.
Let me go find. I'm gonna go grab the Bebop and tell you because we were using it on the shoot, and I'll tell you what the draw is on that.
That'd be
too.
very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on.
So I don't know where we were.
Well, let's go on
land.
to. Yeah, we were talking about pouches, but I think we could go to smaller bags, backpacks, and that smaller end stuff. Oh, he's back anyway. Here we go.
There he is.
Look, that's a charger for 2 batteries.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. It's so cute. It's adorable, as somebody would say. It really is.
Just before we move on from this to go on to the smaller bags, and on this subject of powering stuff, I have mentioned this product before, and this is also driving my light and my laptop at the moment. But this thing, you need this. If you're traveling with gear, this thing is amazing. So this is, I think, 6 or 7 high draw USB ports.
Be half the size in the US.
Be half the size in the US.
Yeah, with your giant plugs. I mean,
yeah, because we're allowed grown-ups electricity. You lot are only allowed sort of the safe
also instant death electricity versus over here you're going to be messed up and maybe have back pain for the rest of your life, but you'll live.
But we have but have you seen your plugs? They're like little safety pins.
Yeah, but Caleb, do you know how fast things charge?
My toddler could easily fit his finger right into the ports.
Amazing.
On that.
Let me just tell you, if you want a cup of tea though, and you want to boil some water in the electric kettle, it's almost instantaneous.
Seconds.
Instant water.
And yeah, so this, you can buy this with any end on it. This one has an EU end on it, but these sockets will take UK, Indian, US. It won't do anything to the voltage though. So if you go stick a US product that is only designed for 110 volts, and you go stick 220 through it, it's maybe going to fry it. But most of the things that we deal with these days are both systems. They work for both. So this is invaluable if you're traveling. This thing it just saves so much room. That's a little, this is called the Block Cube, but there's loads of other things similar. But that is my most treasured little accessory at the moment. I love it. Love it.
Bebop, 98 watt hour. This one right here, 6,8 amp hour, 14.4 volt, max load 10 amp, DTAP 5 amp, USB 1 amp. So those are the specs.
There you go.
So I guess, right? Max load 10 amp. I guess you could do 2 of these on the 300. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have another one that's 150 watt hour. These are the micros. I just love that this is starting to happen, in our industry, that we're getting
It's going to get better and better as they start to figure out how to deal with heat. It's going to get tiny.
I mean, there is a pretty big power supply for this charger, but
is it bigger than the charger?
It is bigger than the charger.
So quick side note, again, I know we're talking about power a lot. We're not supposed to, but real quick, why would you use that style charger versus the power brick with a couple of D-taps on it?
I don't know if you would.
I've got a cheap D&O. I'm trying to remember the brand, but it's like a power brick you'd use to power like an old laptop. Remember those old
Yep.
like Dell laptops with a big
Yes.
brick? It's
Yep.
like that with like 2 or 3 like D-taps hanging off the end.
So what's interesting is this actually is DTAP powered for this.
You still have to add like another.
Well, their power supply that they ship is really big, but I'm wondering if you could get a third-party one that will be a lot smaller.
Gotcha.
Because I
So
have
maybe just
DTAP
V mount
batteries.
convenient. It's easier, faster.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
I don't know. I'm
But
just curious.
this is what they sent
All right.
me, and you know, I like that it's getting smaller and smaller, so it's good.
All right, let's bring it back around to bags. Let's go
Okay.
talk about.
All right, I'm going to go to
backpacks.
my next. I'm going to just bang out the smaller bags really quickly. Okay. So
Okay.
I have 2 sizes here. This is the Roadie Roller 18. This is what I use on puddle jumpers. It will hold a 15.4-inch MacBook Pro, and it does have dividers in it, but I never use those. And this is a rolling case, and again, I use that for the smaller airplanes or when I don't need to bring as much equipment with me. And then my personal item, which is going to be almost as large, is the Tenba Shootout 16L. So it's a 16-liter bag, and that can fit comfortably underneath my seat. It will not hold a laptop, but it'll hold iPads. That's actually where my XT3 lives. That's where my monitor lives, and everything's inside of little pouches. So this is where, like, you know, a small HD focus would be inside of here, or the Shinobi from Atomos. And then I basically have that backpack and a roller. The other roller I have is the Roadie Roller 21, which is the largest you can put in overhead in a domestic flight on a larger regular size plane. So you're on a 737-800, then you're going to be fine putting that bag into the overhead, and you get some additional room in there, a little bit more space to put things in. Those are the bags. I mean, I can talk about how I pack stuff, but I think we're moving along. I'll let the host tell me what I'm allowed to say.
Yeah, shut up.
I tried to get it in really quickly because I knew you were going to give me a hard time. So, you know.
That was good. That was amazing.
Unbelievable.
Record breaking. Caleb, backpacks, the things that now that you've got your studio, are you moving forward and backwards with gear from home?
Sorry, I have my mute button on. Yes. Yeah. I use a cheap what?
Clearly, we know why you had the mute button on, but that's okay. Go ahead.
So I use a cheap, like $80 Amazon backpack. I'd like to try some nice backpacks someday. But I used to be a big messenger guy bag, and I think we were talking, the 3 of us, about this at NAB.
Yeah.
My right shoulder is ruined because of various sling bags. Like Ben, your mega bag, your sack bag you were talking about earlier. I had one like that, and it was a duffel bag, and that's where I would chuck all kinds of like not fragile stuff. And I used to take the train, and I would like throw that over one shoulder and get on the train. And I kid you not, if I stand straight and I relax, like if you ever meet me, let's ask me to do this. It's freaky. My right shoulder is a good couple inches lower than my left. And it's from doing that for far too long. So, and of course, Jem and I were talking about this. Like these days, you're complete. What do you say? You're the worst if you try to do the one backpack strap.
Oh, single strap as far as double strap. Yeah, because when I grew up, I went long ago. We lived in a single strap world, so everything we did was if you had 2 straps on, you were
you were going to get bullied. You were going to get bullied if you did that.
But if you had single strap, you were cool. So I lived my entire life with like, you know, school books this heavy, you know, this deep of single strapping. And now, thankfully, because the world is full of geeks, everybody double straps. So that's a good thing.
So anyway, I wear a backpack for just, I keep a camera, wireless Go kit in it, this camera for streaming. And that's I did a video recently packing like an entire production kit in a single backpack, and that's the backpack I use. So it's cheap on Amazon. And then I use that bag I talked about earlier, the Porter Brace bag.
Yep.
I have a
Which one
Porter
is
Brace
that?
backpack. That's the cargo case. I put a link. By the way, the C47, I'm actually on the back end of Jem's channel, so I am also posting as the C47 in the chat.
Got it.
But
Yeah,
I put it in there a little early. So if you scroll up, you'll find the link. Cargo case.
Yeah, for longtime viewers, which basically means anybody who's watching this, because I mean, we'd like some new people to show up, but you never know. Caleb is a manager on the channel now, so we can take advantage of his extremely delicious internet speeds so that we can make sure that we're giving you a consistent experience every week. Though, quite honestly, with Lightstream, that's a toss-up. Let me tell you what happened the 10 minutes before the show was a complete cluster.
Yeah.
I do just ridiculous cluster overall. Deadeye Smiling did mention, and they said not positive about this, but for the past 3 years, Amazon has had a pretty good sale on Pelican cases, and that is actually true. And I think you're right. I think it is Black Friday, and there's some super deals. In fact, I bought a 1510 with the Pick and Pluck on that one of those years. And Pick and Pluck is, you basically, it has all of these little pieces of foam that have these little squares, and you can just basically pull it out and make it fit the shape of whatever the equipment is you're putting into it.
Basically, he makes that sound an awful lot easier than it is. What that is several hours of hell with a pencil trying to make out these shapes, and you pluck them all out, you get it all just perfect. And then the third time you take out anything from it, all that, the little squares, they all just rip out. Apparently, if you spray them with hairspray or wood glue, or so there's all these kind of secret sources that you can find on the internet that apparently keep them intact, but it's all nonsense. You bin it all and buy the proper padded inserts.
This is gonna blow some people's minds. Okay, real quick side note: if you like packing gear with foam, what you got to do, I can't remember the name of the foam type, but you know when you get like a crappy Chinese product and it comes in a crappy fake Pelican case,
always
you open it up and it's got this like, it looks like beadboard but black. You know what I'm talking about? That type of foam.
Yes, I do.
That type of foam, if you pull it out of the case, there's like layers. You buy that stuff, and then what you do is you can cut and then peel layer by layer, so you can have like 3D.
Oh, really?
You could, if you always travel with a C200 and a 24-105, you could make a cutout that would perfectly fit that from all directions.
You think you could use an electric knife for that or not?
You just use a basic little utility blade, and you slowly cut it out, and you can peel away layers and create all kinds of awesome stuff.
You can also get companies to make a proper cut interior for your paddy cases as well. Bespoke, and they're not crazy expensive actually when you consider how much the inserts are. But then the inserts are flexible, and you can rearrange it, reconfigure the bag, which you can't do if you buy the custom one. So
another quick tip before I just let it go, the foam thing. Another thing you can do is find a maker space. There's tons of them here in the US. I don't know about Europe, where people it's essentially a space where they have these big tools that you can use if you can't afford them. Or find someone with a laser cutter, and you just buy the foam. You make your cutout in Illustrator, and then boom.
Really?
And if you
and 100%. It'll take like 5 minutes to cut out.
You find, I've been doing some work for an engineering company recently, and they have like a laser scanner thing. So they just take all their products, they laser scan it, and then they cut their own inserts. So that's when I'm doing some work for them in December, I'm going to go and beg them to make me some custom inserts for gear.
That's sick. Joseph Floyd totally nailed it. Wistia's channel, they have a thing about the foam I was talking about, and I think I remember seeing that. So,
I'm going to go check that out for sure. Yes, please link. That would be great.
Anyway.
That would be great. All right. So I will quickly do my backpack of choice, which is maybe about to be retired, but I don't know. This is the same as the bigger version of Gems. This is the 24L, the 24L. There's a lot that's great about this backpack. There's a couple of things that aren't. What I love about it is it looks quite small, and it doesn't arouse any suspicion when you're flying on European airlines in terms of that it's got a lot of weight in it. But it holds a 15-inch laptop, and if I could show you this without actually spilling it everywhere, normally the EOS R and the 35mm are in there as well, but it fits an awful lot of stuff in it. So there's a C200, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lenses normally, plus all my batteries that I need to have in carry-on. So this thing is normally knocking on 20 kilos when I fly with it. It does have a really good waist strap, which has always been Temba's sort of USP, I would say, is that they designed them like outdoor backpacks rather than camera backpacks. So their weight distribution has always been very good. But I always take the belt pack off because it's quite thick and padded and makes it look a lot bigger and heavier. And I'm always trying to be stealthy and not get found out for the ridiculous 10 kilos over that I always am on my hand luggage. So I'm kind of looking at even including changing the airlines that I'm flying with and going back to budgets, because I found some hacks and some ways that I can actually get unweight limited hand luggage checked in for free on every single flight through my cell phone provider, which is a bit of a weird thing. So I'm kind of investigating whether I'm going to really change the way that I fly, particularly between here in the Czech Republic and the UK, which is my most frequent journey. And that might involve buying a small, pretty much exactly to EasyJet's carry-on dimensions that I can fit as much gear in as possible. So I will be looking out for the Black Friday deals on those. But it's been a really good bag in an awful lot of ways. A couple of odd little design flaws on it, like they don't have garages for the zips, so it rains and water goes in. It's just a couple of little quirks, but overall I think it's a great bag and just nice and stealthy. And it's quite a lot bigger than Jem's version, but it still fits under the seat in front, which means that when you're boarding the plane, there's no stress on trying to be on there first to secure the overhead bin space. You can just saunter on last, put it under the seat in front. Everything's relaxed, particularly if you're height challenged as Jem and I are. It's actually a fantastic thing for flying. I'm never happier about being short than when I'm flying. So yeah, footrest, exactly. And it's a footrest. So those things work really well. And I think there's another episode. We have talked about traveling with gear before, but I think we can maybe explore a bit on that in terms of just the methods of getting this stuff from A to B. Might be worth revisiting at some point before too long, because I think things have changed
also
since last time we did it.
You can almost do a third part or a part of that video where you just talk about how you pack gear in the studio / in your wherever you put your gear when you're not traveling.
Yeah.
That's a whole other situation.
That's
like a throw up though. It's like it changes every day, and then I start on the production and it's just insane. What? Watch out for bed bugs getting into your gear on the plane and hotels.
What? Where are you? Where are you traveling to there, Hendrik?
Look, I don't want to even think about that. Even if it's a possibility, I can't even worry about it. Not with everything else that's going on in this world. I'm going to quickly just talk about pouches here. I don't want to spend a lot of time. I've shown these in the past. These are the Travel On little pouches that come in different sizes. Every time here in the States, when I'm at like a Marshall's, they have a 3-pack of a small, a medium, and a large, and that's the large. It's not big. And I buy those for $10, and I just put stuff in them. The other types of pouches are these Tenba ones, which I really like, where they're padded, but they have a little clear window. So when you're putting something in here, you know what's inside of it. So I have a bunch of those in different sizes. And then recently, for my audio gear, K-Tech has these little clear pouches, which they sell in the 3-pack. It's about $20 for 3 of them, but I have all of my things for mounting lavalier mics in one, and then I have, there's a second one over here somewhere. These are my Rode lavalier mics, and then they have another one that has my Sony lavalier mics. So I can put those in those, and other things like these little semi-hard cases with a clear top from Tenba, where I can open those up and just put different types of gear. Those are lenses. This is audio gear. It's a different shape. So basically what I do is I just pack those pouches depending on the bags that I'm bringing and the equipment I need to bring, and then everything lives in its own little place inside of the bag. That's it. That's why I had to do that quickly because I'm going to get yelled at again. So there you go. Oh, one more thing, even though I don't care. These are reflector cases that are round, and I usually travel with reflectors. But the other thing that I do inside of these reflector cases is I put cables, because it's
do the
great
same
for
thing.
XLR cables, HDMI cables, SDI cables. So they live in the same place, and they're a perfect shape for those cables. And I'm going to pack them in the bag anyway. So there you go.
I also put lights occasionally, things like flex lights, in between. So when the reflector's folded up,
Totally.
you then can open it because you've then got padding, and that also goes in. So I do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Useful, except then I forget that I've done it and then spend 2 months trying to find this one bit of kit that I last saw
David
on a
is so
job.
cheeky. Zeppelins aren't as strict as planes, just no lighters. Come on. That's ridiculous. Unbelievable.
All right, gentlemen, it is 2 minutes past 1 o'clock in the morning and my bed is calling. So let's wrap it up. But I think there's more that we can talk about on this whole subject. I like the idea of, where do we leave gear? How do we leave things stored, and keeping things organized? And if you could see around the rest of the floor area of my office right now, the answer is not organized at all. And it's just, I got back from my last trip away 2 weeks ago and it's still just everywhere. Yeah, all right, I'm getting there. Was that a finish it off thing, Jen?
No, that was acknowledging that it's exactly the same in the space around me as well. And Caleb would say the same thing. It's like I'm a very organized person when I'm packing for a job and when I'm getting stuff to a place. But I mean, it's chaos inside of here for sure.
Yeah, you can see behind me. It's trashed in here.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah. I just moved this on. So I think there's more that we can talk about on this whole subject, and we'll come back to it at some point. But for now, a pleasure as always talking to you.
Yes,
the two of you, and also a pleasure chatting to everyone in the chat room. Thank you very much for joining us. It's always a massive pleasure. It really is, and such good fun. This always feels like quite a large part of my social life these days, doing this, which is kind of fun and tragic all at the same time. So,
good.
Just a little housekeeping. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving here in the United States of America. We will have an episode on Wednesday, unless you gentlemen are not capable of doing that. I will be looking for an excuse to get away for an hour. Any thoughts on that, Caleb? Are you okay?
I meant to check in with everybody to see what's going on. We might have house guests, so I'll need to get back to you on that.
So let us know. As of right now, the plan is for us to do an episode next week. And if we do, let's have some powwow about some topics. It might be fun to just sort of,
Hey,
I had one while we were talking.
Idea.
Good.
Well, that maybe for next, I don't know, so you see what you think, but how about, seeing as that most of the Black Friday stuff starts this week, this Friday, and rolls on to next Friday, where don't we each find a couple of bargains?
That'd be cool.
And we can
your idea, Caleb?
Sort of along with that, I was thinking just a second ago while we were talking, like it'd be interesting to do an episode on how we buy and sell gear.
Yeah.
All the little tips and tricks.
I never sell it. That's the problem.
Well, then how you buy it. Things you do, where you buy it from, how you research stuff, when to buy used versus new, all that good stuff.
Yes.
I think that's perfect. I think those tie into each other perfectly. We could each come up with 3 things that we find for Black Friday, and maybe we'll see crossover, maybe we won't. Caleb, let us know if you can do it. And it's a pleasure as always, gentlemen. And for everybody, we love having everybody here every week. Love you guys. And I'm already getting excited about NAB 2020, just by the way.
I'm getting hungry thinking about it too.
Oh, Lotus.
I know. Lotus.
Cheers, gentlemen. All the best. Cheers to everybody out there. Grip Lingo Show. We'll do it, David, at some point. All the best.
Have a good one, guys. Good night.
Good night, 1-0. See you next week.
Caleb's going to push the logo with no
gonna-
audio, and then we're getting out of here.
Boom. Bye-bye.